Here at the House Arrest Bible Study, we're looking at the end of chapter 3. Now, there are only 4 chapters in the book of Philippians, so that means that we've made some really good progress, and I hope you're keeping up. So take a look at chapter 3. Look at the end of the chapter, beginning with verse 16 and going down to the end. In this section, Paul lays down a multi-level challenge. The first challenge that he lays down is found in verse 16 itself, that we should live up to what we have already accomplished. Now that's an interesting but vague kind of thing to say. What is it that we have accomplished? What have the Philippians accomplished, and how can they live up to that? Well, Paul clarifies things a little bit by saying that the Philippians should be following his example, looking at how he and his team live and copying them, living up to that example. Not only that, but finding other people who live the way Paul lives and living up to that example too. That's an interesting challenge, and we're going to come back to it a little bit. But Paul continues to flesh things out by drawing a contrast between people who are enemies of the cross of Christ and people who are eagerly awaiting the coming of Christ. He talks about the enemies of the cross and describes them by saying that their God is their stomach, that they find glory in their shame. These are things that we should pay close attention to, especially in these days of difficult times. I hope that you're looking at that, because Paul is saying, don't follow people who find glory in their shame. Don't follow people whose God is their stomach, but instead follow people like him. So I want you to look at that and think about the challenge that Paul is laying down. Ask yourself this: can I, with integrity, tell people that they should follow my example, that they should try to live like me? I don't always feel comfortable saying something like that, and if you're like me, you don't either. But it involves living up to what we have already achieved. I want you to read this passage and reflect on it and ask yourself what kind of a challenge Paul is laying down for you personally. What is it that you have to do in order to live up to what you have already achieved? Come back later. We're going to get into chapter 4, and we're going to finish the book of Philippians in this House Arrest Bible Study. I hope you're enjoying yourself.